welcome to another edition of the Raw the Lions UK podcast, episode 357. Have you tried switching it off and on again? My name's Matthew Turner, alongside Anthony Fitzpatrick, and he's going to be a bit late. But don't you worry, the statistician will be here. Ashley Soden will be along in a moment. And I know you're chomping away on your dinner after another late work shift, but how are you feeling 24 hours on?
Today's word of the day is chastened. I think we all feel a little chastened today after what went on, and that's a good thing. That we can feel emotions is a good thing. So yeah, I'm chastened today.
It's a damn good word. We are going to go through a tiny bit of news, but there's not going to be a huge amount. Through the preamble as normal, we'll talk about this game. We're not going to flog a dead horse. It wasn't fun, and this is not going to be the most fun ever. But as always, since this podcast has been through the Patricia regime, and we have all been through the mill before, as always, this is now just a therapy session. Welcome. You are all here for the same reason that we are. So, we're here all together, and then we'll get on to the Bears next week. First up, do come and join our Discord channel. Be a great place to be. We are actually arranging a Lions UK meetup for October 12. If you're in the UK and you want to come and say hello, that would be great. If you're already in the UK, I'm going to be putting details of it in the Discord channel or on the Facebook page that we quote at the end of the show, Detroit Lions Fans UK One Pride Worldwide. So if you want to join either of those, it'd be great to meet you in person. That's going to be for Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs after a Tottenham game. So yeah, if you want to come and join the Discord channel, you'll find out all about that. College Football Podcast, and is coming up later on in the week. It was another big weekend of college football. Maybe not quite as many upsets as there were last week, but, you know, hometown giants fell. Maybe slightly predictably, but there was a little bit of cope.
Oh no, it was a good weekend. It was a good weekend for teams that I like. So, I'm very happy about that, and I've not really had much chance to think about college given how much I've been working, and then after yesterday, and then I've not stopped today. But I look back and it's good. There's some real good performances going on. There's some really good players emerging already this year. A lot that we've got our eyes on. So yeah, it was a great weekend. There were quite a few upsets actually, not major teams necessarily, but a lot of teams a bit further down the pyramid have been getting chewed up. So yeah, it's good stuff. And of course, to make up for the loss yesterday, it's backyard brawl week, my favorite time of the college football year. So I've got that to look forward to. So yeah, there'll be a lot going on anyhow. So yeah, come join us as always.
And did I see after Army choking in week 1 that they had a big comeback as well? Is that right?
They did. Brent's teams are swapping, so one week Army wins, Michigan loses. The next Michigan loses, Army wins. So he's at least got one team winning every week, but he's not had a sweep so far. So, but yeah, Kansas State looked bad this year, man. That was not a headline we were expecting, but hey ho, this is the fun of the game.
Please do like this episode, sub to the podcast, you guys know what to do, and follow our friends over at Lions Nation Unite. Herman Moore's project to bring the best in Lions content creators together with Twitch affiliated, YouTube monetized. There's a tip jar down below, as well as a feedback form. Any support you can give would be fantastic. Let's go into the news. And there were a couple of injuries to speak of. The first one was Terry Arnold with a hamstring. He went out of the game, I think, after halftime. He didn't come out for the second half. It was a hamstring injury, and he gave some quotes which sounded like it was preventative. Dan Campbell then confirmed in his press conference that he also did not think the injury was serious. There is not any indication about how long he's going to be out for, though. The safety, Daniel Thomas, as well, he has a broken hand. He went out of the game, I think, in the first quarter. It was really early on. He is planning to get it clubbed a la Carlton Davis and Commish from recent years, and will play if comfortable. Although I will say, and when we've had to play players who are clubbed, I would say that they were potentially more important than Daniel Thomas.
I mean, we've had quite a few. I mean, Commish, I think, was the last to wear a club, wasn't he? But yeah, it's wear and tear at the start of the season, especially when they're playing full speed games for the first time. Little knocks maybe you've had over camp, which seems to be the case with Arnold. It might be something that's been lingering a little bit, don't really come to the fore. And of course, you're going to take some hits early on. And, I think overall we've been quite lucky with the bug. So, here's hoping that these go away pretty quickly. But yeah, it's they're most vulnerable right now at the start of the year to things that might be preventable when they're fully healthy, up to speed. They've played 6 or 7 games and the body's ready and going. So hopefully with Terry, it's nothing too serious. Sounds like it might not be a game or two. I don't know, but these things happen. We just have to get on with it. We're a big boy team now, and if we're going to have to make do without him for a few games, anyone wants a starting spot on this big boy team is going to have to stand up, be a big boy as they were. So we move on to the next one, and hopefully we get a better recovery from it. But yeah, injury wise, not the worst. At least we've not lost anyone for the year yet, so that's a positive. Seemed to happen every week last year.
It is true. Ash is in the building as well. Welcome. I know you had a flag football meeting. How was the interview, by the way?
Oh, it went well. Went well. Turns out the team they do fancy football, and because they're owned by a North Canadian team, and because they're called ACR Stoves, their team name is Absolute Complete Rookies. I was like, well, that's my selling point. If you hire me, I can run your fancy team for you and win your league. Though, by the looks of our own one for the podcast, I'm not winning this week, but the other two I am, so that's good.
Any thoughts on the news? As you were obviously writing some of it down. I mean, it's just injury related, isn't it? We've kind of covered it a bit.
Exactly, yeah. Like the Arnold one, so it was in the second quarter. I believe it was. It happened on the massive play that we gave up, where it was him get between him and Reed for the 30-yard pass, and then the next play was the Jaden Reed pick play where he scored the touchdown. It supposedly happened on that, from what I remember from his interview after the game. Was quickly ruled out with a groin injury, but yeah, it's preventative because we want him here for the full season. We don't want him to continue on and make it worse, and it was affecting his ability to cover because as a corner, you need your groin to open your hips and flip and cover deep. So getting him off the field and sort of making sure he's okay was the main thing, even though obviously it had knock-on effects in having to move Meek to the outside, which means when we're going to nickel formations, Khalil Dorsey and Rocky Sin had to come onto the field. And obviously, as we'll get onto with what Rocky Sin did in a certain play, it did hurt us in a way. And then with Daniel Thomas, yeah, there for special teams, I think it happened on the first kick return that he broke his hand. He made about it. I think he got stood on. From what I quickly remember, watching it back after I heard he broke his hand. But yeah, Klimish had his clubbed 2 years ago when he did something similar. It was in training camp where he got his finger stuck in Jonah Jackson's face mask and really damaged finger. He got it clubbed then. Played okay, but obviously didn't have the full pass rush moves. And then Davis last year, when after we traded for him, he had a similar broke one of his fingers, didn't he? And he had it clubbed up. And yet, if he had a similar injury, he just didn't want to play. I know exactly. I'm going to do it as well. But obviously, yeah, I'm going to say it in a minute. But unfortunately, that you were wrong with your prediction about us not losing someone for the season. It's got OT freeze on the IR, season-ending IR.
During the game, to all the pedants out there, you know damn well what I meant.
I mean, he was put on IR ages ago. I was kind of assuming he wasn't coming back, and it was a bit of oh well. Anyway,
yeah. I just had to. Our gracious co-host had to remind me that I had to correct you, so I just had to follow the rules of the gracious co-host.
Dubious. Anyway, 27-13, the final score, with Detroit scoring a garbage time touchdown. It was 27-6. Before that, although I guess you could argue Green Bay also scored a late touchdown because we were throwing caution to the wind. 20-6 really is kind of, I think, the scoreline which really matters here. Just a kind of brief outline of what happened on this game. First drive, defense played fantastic on first and second down, but when it came to third down, Green Bay just kept moving the ball, and we've seen that script before in our Lions fandom. They went 3 of 3 on the opening drive on third down, including 3rd and 10, 3rd and 6, and 3rd and 9. And then our offense went 3 and out after their touchdown. We had 2 very long offensive drives, which ended up in a field goal and an interception, both in the red zone. And in between, Green Bay had a two-play 65-yard drive, including a bomb to Romeo Dobbs for 48 yards, and then Reed for a pick play, the 17-yarder for a touchdown. In the second half, the Lions' defense really stood up until the game was basically done and dusted. Green Bay didn't score in the third quarter, and then deep into the fourth, they really hadn't done much at all. Run defense was good. Third quarter, they legitimately got some pressure. I think they hit Love twice in the third quarter and looked genuinely like they might actually get a sack for a while. So the pass rush was anemic outside of that, shall we say. Otherwise, Anzalone dropped a dolly of an interception to potentially get the Lions back in the game. It would have been possession for the Lions in the red zone at the very least, if not a pick six. Around the same time, Love was pick six by Brian Branch, but it was called back for holding by Rock Ya-Sin. It was a correct call. It was a bit soft, but it was the right call. On the same play, Aiden Hutchinson would have been done for unnecessary roughness. I said roughing the passer yesterday. It's not roughing the passer because he was no longer a passer, but as a quarterback, he's still a protected player, kind of. I know that people have talked about the fact that Goff did not get the same call against Washington last year. I mean, yes, it still would have been a pick, though. And apparently in the off-season, they were saying in the broadcast, they looked at the Goff hit, and there was a re-emphasis on trying to protect quarterbacks in that situation. So, in fact, there was a difference in the way they were calling that play. The rulebook didn't change, but you know about how emphasis changes things in the rulebook for the referees. So, in some ways, having seen what happened to Goff, they changed, which is a positive. Just didn't go in our favour. I said, you may say it's not a positive. They did lay him out deliberately when he wasn't making an impact on the play. Whatever. In desperation time, did we wave a white flag on offense in our own 5? 10 minutes to go, 2 scores down, didn't try. Not ideal. And then, arguably the game's highlight outside of the 48-yarder to Dobbs was Tesla with a ridiculous circus catch. I mean, live, it was so hard to tell. On the first replay, he didn't look like he got the foot down. Like, it didn't touch. And then, suddenly, as the replays kept going on, it became clear that he got his heel down, and absolutely brilliant catch for him. It was made clear by Dan Campbell that he was basically held out of the game because of his illness through the week, and that's the reason why he only had 3 reps on offense. But man, did he make the most of it. Boys, I'm not going to go through the stats. They're, kind of too depressing, but that's the outline of the game. And we really hoped for better, but a lot went wrong.
Yeah, it's kind of the traditional first game of the season type vibes where, everything looks rusty, but I don't know. I have a lot to say about this one. I mean, first of all, I just, I go back and say my expectations of this team and, have never been too demanding, never too high. They verge from year to year, depending where you are on your build. I like to think they've been very realistic so far, and you're heading into a very important year for this team, and my expectations go up accordingly to what we're hoping from them. I don't care if we lose games. It's the NFL. You are going to lose games. Like, that is just a fact of life. You cannot go unbeaten. It's not been done since the 70s. I don't care how many necessarily we lose by games by sometimes. Again, any given Sunday, one team comes, they have your number, and, things go wrong, and you can, like when the Ravens beat us by 40 or whatever it was. I care about how we lose games. And by that, I mean when I see us bent over somebody's knee and absolutely whipped like we do to teams. Green Bay were better than us. They put in the grit performance that we do in every single physical facet of this game. They were better than us. And I have not seen us driven into the ground like this since the Panthers put 400 odd yards of rushing down us on year 2. I've seen us lose games, and I can accept we lose games. I cannot accept that we have been beaten by our own core foundation of how we play this game. those are the defeats I do not like. I mean, I look at the offensive line got outmatched, and it was, the run game never got going. We were never able to figure it out. Their defensive line absolutely dominated us. Our defensive line was good against the run, as we know it is. The problems that we have also seen, that rushing the passer, getting pressure. This is not a good Packers offensive line that is known for being an elite pass protecting line. They absolutely dominated us when it came to the pass protection reps. Jordan Love had so much time to throw the football. It was completely negating the run defense. Okay, we can get 2 stops against the run. Fine, they're in 3rd and 8. Doesn't really matter if you're in 3rd and 8 if you've got 4 or 5 seconds to chuck a football because you can't get to the quarterback, and that's what they were doing. He was just waiting for his routes to open up, and he was throwing the football under no pressure whatsoever. That was us getting dominated in the trenches. That is what our game is about. We got tactically outcoached. Maybe I can accept that because we've got 2 no coordinators in here, but the fact that they absolutely beat the brakes off us at what we say we do and what we like to do to others is where I have a problem with this team and the performance yesterday, especially entering year 5 of the era. That should not be happening. We can lose that game. We cannot lose that game the way that we did. And I know the stat sheet will say it was a 2-score game. We held up well in the second half, which we did. That game felt dead before the half. Like, you didn't really think. I've had, like, in games in the past, I've always believed this team can make a comeback. Sometimes under Ben, it took 3 quarters. Hell, sometimes it took 4 quarters, and you thought there's going to be a spark there. There was no spark yesterday whatsoever. And that is the concerning part there for me. It's one game in isolation. The season is not over. No one deserves to be fired, nothing like that. But there are a lot of legitimate concerns that we need to discuss as a result of this defeat, which still hang badly with me today. I know everybody's been on a fucking emergency PR course today, trying to say, well, if this play went different, the game will be different. This happened, that happened. In isolation, as we were talking about beforehand, you can say, oh yeah, this game was just decided by a few plays and that. We all saw what happened. We all saw us get our ass absolutely handed to us. And that really, Green Bay should probably have put us away by more yesterday. That is one of the most disappointing performances I've seen from us in years. And it's first game right, but blown coverages in the secondary, no adjustment to scheme on offense is concerning. The offensive line looked like they'd never met one another. There was just too much yesterday that wasn't going right, even for a first game of the year, which was just like they were completely and utterly unprepared for this. So again, caveat here, this is game 1. And I've gone on record as saying I don't really give a fuck about the regular season, and I don't. Like, I'd rather this happen now than then. But I come away from this game and I'm like, right, this is year 5, 6 of this thing now. And there are problems that have been in this organization for the last 5 years, which have not gone away. And this is a very important time for us, and I'm a little concerned. So yeah, it's still a little raw today, is what I would say. And I'm sorry if I've banged on about it a bit, but that's how I'm feeling. And I still have a lot of thoughts to say about this. But that is my overall aspect of this game. Like, yeah, it's week 1, shit happens, but I am concerned as well, given the manner of the defeat.
Many thanks to some super chats while Ant was talking there. Mile Marker 301 with a $10 super chat saying, still proud. And Brent DeWitt with a $2 super chat saying 0-1, long season, chill. Ash, high-level takeaways from the game.
Well, the opposite is for me was I'm not chill, wasn't chill. Like, yes, I used my whiteboard behind me for comedic effect 12 times. Well, technically 11 because I did start with 1 for stuff outside of the game, but 11 times I had to turn around and just, instead of screaming and shouting, just put a new number on there because it was.
Repeat for people who weren't live with us yesterday. What does it say?
It says times I got mad at something, and it's got 12 on there. So 12 times that I turned around and instead of ranting and raving, just do that. Sort of exercise the feelings that way rather than ranting and raving.
It's your version of a stress ball, right?
Yeah, exactly. My version of a stress ball that's
You're using numbers.
Good numbers job. Is fun. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wait, what? We can start using charts for shit now? I'm going to have a chart up saying times me and Brent agree on things, and that number's going to go so high that I'll not be able to fit it on this screen.
Touche. Whiteboards are quite cheap at Tesco these days. But it was like so many little things adding up that it was concerning. So the misassignments, it's all... I think the one that's definitely come out in terms of misassignments is that David Montgomery run at the goal line just after Goff nearly got safetied, where you just see Glasgow and Tate just both pull to the right and leave the rushing linebacker free to come. He's like, well, if you're going to let me tackle him, I'll go tackle him then. And while, yes, people have theorized that it was one misassignment, someone was supposed to climb to, I think it was the tight end to Brock Wright, who was supposed to come around and get that guy. But it's just little things like that, the miscommunications, the fact that the Goff was having to stand to line and basically do communications with everyone till 5 seconds left on the play. All these things. And then there's the macro of the play calling on both sides. So we all know how much I hate fire blitz, and as someone that does it in flag football even, but ever since that Seattle game a couple of years ago, where it's the infamous ref where James Houston fire blitzes and has to cover Noah Fant up the seam, and it just goes wrong. Do not do it at the edges. What do we do on both of the 2 of the 3 first downs in that first drive? One, we do Hutch and a fire blitz. The next one, it's Davenport. It doesn't work. Stop it. And then on offense, I know supposedly Green Bay took away all the deep stuff. That doesn't mean you've done into the immediate game, though, because you look at the screenshots and it's either, yes, someone's done a go or they've ran a 5-yard hitch. There's no in between. And it led to us losing this game. We capitulated by half-time, pretty much. Man, it sucked.
At this point, by Ash's speech, he's not gone full nuclear and talked about special teams holding penalties.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy. I thought that would be the first thing out there. That's crazy.
That was literally the first. That was the first one. Like, Matt can back me up. It was just their return where they just got a massive turn. I was like, right, okay, let's scrub that off, put it in there. Like, it's even permutated to Jeremy's Madden sims. There was a bad kick coverage on that, and the Packers managed to carry a kick return to R40 to open that game. I was like, great, it's even got into Madden. Madden knows how bad our kick coverage is now. It's just so many things.
I think this game is summed up by I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, Ant, losing is fine. Like, it's not great, but you can accept it. But it is the manner in which it was done that's really disappointing. I mean, we know by now the run game was bad. 22 carries, 46 yards. But Gibbs was 9 for 19, and he had a 14-yard rush. So his other 8 carries went for 5 yards. Like, that's not acceptable.
And it's the stubbornness. Like, it's up the gut. This is the shit that we used to get under Patricia with Adrian Peterson. The same stuff again and again and again. The same type of run. Why are we not trying to attack outside the tackles? Why are we not putting our vulnerable guards and getting them pulling, getting them out into space where they're good and we know that they're capable of these things? It's mixing. It's not preseason anymore. This is not about protecting your looks, so nobody knows what's coming, because, newsflash, these are games we need to win now. It was just again and again and again and again. And what have we criticised over the years, specifically defence? Adjustments, alterations to the game. And it just clearly, like, Glasgow was blowing an assignment every other play. The Rooks clearly are green and they're learning. And when you've not got a veteran centre in there with you who is leading the line with that calm style of leadership that you need, it's putting a lot of pressure on them. And yet you're just saying, right, let's get through you guys again and again and again. It's not working. You're throwing the same screenplay to Jahmyr Gibbs 50 I mean, what was it? 10 receptions for 30 yards. That's almost impossible to get so few yards. And did it break some sort of record?
Yes, yeah. It's the least amount of receiving yards for a player got 10 or more receptions in the game.
And I'm sat there thinking, okay, And I'm guessing, because I know you like to call the plays before they happen. I bet you were calling these plays before they happened as to what they were going to do. Pretty much, it's run up the gut for 2 yards, screen to Jameer for another two, 3rd and 6. Oh God, what's going to happen now? The Packers pass rush is going to tee off on us. And the fact you get behind so early means that they can just leave Micah Parsons in for money downs. You are not tiring him out. You are not getting in his grill. You are not wearing him down. You are putting yourself in a position where their premier weapon can come in on the money downs. And where did we struggle? 3rd downs. Where did we struggle when we're trying to protect Goff to try and get it in the end zone, move it a little bit, when we're actually trying to take a shot down the field? And you're playing like Jeff Hafley played us like fucking drum. Like he played us like he's King Phil Collins, and he's got King drumsticks in his hand, and he's going fucking mental. And we did absolutely nothing to adjust to it. What are you waiting for? Who are you waiting for? This is stuff we used to complain at under Patricia, and we've got to keep consistency with it. Because where was the adjustment? Like Ash says, where's the intermediate stuff? If you can't go downfield, we're not coming up against a good secondary here. This is not the creme de la creme of secondaries we're going to face. I am not going to believe that Amon-Ra and JMO and guys like this cannot get open on well-designed plays against the secondary that's this mid.
Well, and it's worth mentioning as well
what the fuck
that
is a good team going to do to us?
It's worth mentioning that Amon-Ra bailed us out on quite a few 3rd downs in the very first long drive we had.
He was great.
He was the only one who was really converting those plays. So,
I think predictable.
I think it is worth mentioning that the scheme and the design of the offense played straight into Green Bay's hands. I don't care that they said, just trying to take what they give you. But they didn't give you anything. So I do think it is worth saying Green Bay absolutely knocked it out of the park. I thought they were magnificent. It absolutely pains me to say so, especially since I trashed that cornerback room. I thought they were magnificent, and I absolutely hate it. I do not think it is just us being bad. I thought they were also really good, and that's a bad combination. But I don't really care whether they did well or badly. I just care that we were, contributing to our own downfall.
See, this is, and I'm probably in terms of predictions league, I should be ecstatic because I predicted a loss. But this is where you saw the subtle differences here. You saw a new defensive coordinator who's, trying bits, probably shouldn't be, etc. A brand new one, a green guy, and then you saw a very experienced defensive coordinator who knows what pieces he's got at his disposal, who knows how best to use them, and who found the weak link in the opposition and just took a hammer and chisel and put a sledgehammer on it and went bang. You saw the looks he was coming up with. The fact that he was able to rush with 4 and he was doing so many different stuff, and it just confused the hell out of our line. What did we do? We dropped our edges into coverage. We didn't really do much. The blitzing didn't. There was no ingenuity. There was no creativity to overwhelm a Packers line, which is again not that good. And it's not me saying sour grapes. This is me looking at the rest of the league and their collectiveness. And these are the things that you saw. It was a great coaching performance from them. And I said, if anyone's going to win them, it'll be Hafley and that defense, and he did. But it was just so annoying how we refused to try and adapt to anything, and that's our one downfall. I think we arrogantly believe in our own style of play and that it will eventually work, and that sometimes, just sometimes, you do have to go to a plan B because some team's just going to have your number, and it's one thing that we've always struggled to adapt to. Even the long offensive drives, did they not feel like really clunky? And they never felt like under Ben, we had 7-minute drives, 8-minute drives, but they flowed, they worked well. And even if we got behind the sticks a bit, you always felt there was a plan in place there. Ours just
it felt like we were doing it chugging
along in second gear. Yeah, we're like chugging along and the engine's spurting and then stopping and spurting, then stopping, rather than being a smooth drive. There's just something wasn't there, but. Yeah, these are just the things that bug me. And again, people can just go, we can adjust and that, but there's a lot to adjust. These are not just things we can say, we fix this one thing and everything's fine. Like, Green Bay have now exposed the flaw in us, which other teams are going to look at, and it's up to us now to go, right, well, we've got to get a bit more creative. We've got to go to a plan B. We've got to do something else. Otherwise, the Bears will look at this And the Bears will be watching this all week long because you know their head coach is detail-orientated masochist. So
I mean, what's embarrassing about this game, just looking at the stats, they had 14 first downs. Green Bay had 14 first downs and knocked the brakes off us. That's nothing. 14 first downs should be happening when we're absolutely pummeling them into submission. Like, that's not the stat line you expect to see here. 14 first downs might get you 6 points in a game if you get a couple of drives and then stall out. Like, that's not necessarily a winning, example of play, but, when you beat them by 11 minutes in times of possession, it's kind of embarrassing that this is the way it's gone. It really is. But, I mean, a pick in a key moment will do that. That really felt like a massive turning point where if we do put points up there, that maybe the offense just settles into a rhythm. But since that moment, whatever momentum or confidence there was completely shot. And I don't know about you guys. Did we give up?
I'm going to say the players didn't. I'm going to say the coaching, that wasn't Dan. I didn't feel like I was watching a Dan team in this game because they were cowardly a lot. The one where Gary nearly safety Goff, I think we were about 3rd and 16, something like that, and then we're just trying to run the ball for a yard or two, like 8 minutes, 9 minutes left, whatever it is, and we're trying to run for a yard or two to make the punter. We didn't even try to get out of that jam. Like, we've got some of the best clutch third down. Amon-Ra is the most clutch third down wide receiver in this league, period. I will not hear another word about it. If you need a clutch third down conversion from any distance, if someone's going to find a gap in the system, if someone's going to exploit a defense to get it, it is him. They didn't even try. That was what a college team does. That's college level bullshit, where you're like, okay, let's get a few yards because, we're a college team. We got a lot to learn. We ain't going to convert a 3rd and 20. Like, that's not us. The settled in field goals it was clear that field goals were not going to win this game. I thought they were settling for them too easy. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was watching a Dan team. They didn't have that mentality, and whether that's Dan just saying to the coordinators, you do you, we're going to try and play it safe, but that's not how we've become the team we are. We've become the team we are by being relentless. Teams get to 4th down against us. They're not rushing off the field going, yeah, we've done our job. We get to go and have a rest now. They go, well, for God's sake, they're going for it again. We're tired. We need a break. And you break them down systematically that way. That wasn't there in this game. And again, it's no coordinators. And, again, it's week 1. We go back to all this, but this is what I'm looking. This is what I'm seeing. And the level of expectation I'm expecting from this team now is I expect better. I saw the Buffalo Bills very later on that evening getting absolutely pummeled at home by a run, getting put into a corner under all sorts of pressure. And their mentality was there. They didn't give up. They kept going. They got that win. And, even if we didn't win this game, that's fine. If we lose it by 1 score and we play the way we do and we go out swinging, I applaud that. This one, it felt like we meekly rolled over and just had our tummies tickled. And when we're playing Green Bay, I don't like that. Don't like it at the best of times, but no, it didn't feel like a Dan team, which was a concern.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about stock up, stock down. We've been very negative on the show so far. Let's start with some positives. Were there any players that you thought individually acquitted themselves particularly well, or was it disappointing across the board? Ash, did you have anyone in mind?
For once, I'm actually not going to agree with PFF. Tyreek Williams, suppose it our 3rd worst graded defensive player. Yeah, I thought he did pretty well. Like, aside from that sort of last quarter where we're kind of giving up and we're doing all this and they were able to run the ball, for the most part, we shut down their run game, and he was a big part of that. He held up the middle. He took on the double teams. Yes, there wasn't the pass rush that we were hoping for, that the team was sort of saying, oh, yeah, he could go to be a lean. But in terms of what we have him there for, to stop the run 1st and 2nd down, he did this job, and he can at least kind of hold his head high in the fact that I don't think he had any misassignments. He did his job, and there's something there to build on with him.
And anyone play well for you?
I know he had the very dubious call against him when he should have known better, but I thought Brian was really good still. I thought Brian was one of the only players out there who looked like he gave a toss and was actually, he was getting in their grill, he was riling them up. It was a stupid mistake at the start of the game. Like, Green Bay seems to have. He's a very calm, collected player, a very mature player. Apart from when he goes to Lambeau, it's just everybody has their tipping point. Like Miles Garrett and the Steelers. Miles Garrett just turns into a different animal there. But I still thought that he was good, and made some nice plays. Good few good run stops in there from him as well. But I thought he was good, and I thought Amon Ra was good. Like when Amon Ra was targeted, like the toe tap was disgusting. It's absolutely fucking filthy, that is, and it reminds you of just what you can do. And it's like, receivers weren't getting open. My arse, he was. I would be very. I'm going to go back and watch this tape again because I specifically want to look at the D line, but I'm going to have a look at this because I cannot believe that Keyshawn Nixon was locking him up all game. That's bull. So, but I thought he was very good when called upon. We just didn't use him enough.
I don't have anyone else. I don't have anyone to add. Even the guys that had good PFF grades, I didn't think were particularly great.
Bates kicked everything, nailed what was given to him. I have no concern about kicker no more. So if we're doing that, then I thought the kicker was great.
Trust you to go special teams.
Even with the penalty he got, that was on a non-side kick. So
yeah.
All right. Individually, who was particularly disappointing? I will go first since I didn't see anyone for up. Taylor Decker. First rush went off left tackle and it was awful. And while after that I think he was okay in bits and pieces against on the run blocking, which apparently was the worst grade he had, his pass blocking grade was the best of the team at 73.5. But the number of times I saw him getting walked back into the quarterback or giving up a sack, I can't believe it's that high. I think Taylor was disappointing in this game. In fact, I really think that Saul, I know you're going up against Micah, but he got manhandled. This is the first time I've seen Saul actively struggle against someone to make me go, shit, I'm not sure he's the best player in his matchup. Like, every single time it's at least been like a kind of wash. Even when he's struggled, it's been like, okay, it's about a draw. Saul legitimately lost pretty much every rep. And that is totally unfamiliar territory.
Should have chose better cleats as well. The amount I saw him slip over twice because he didn't have the right cleats on to get the grip. Like, that doesn't help you at all when you're supposed to anchor.
Yeah. The only thing I would say, I think if anyone's gathered up enough grace to have a shitty performance, then it's Sewell. Like, he's pretty much Teflon at this point. But
in the spirit of being able to criticize,
it's like Hudge. It's like Hudge. For the line to be good at its best, its star needs to be elite, and our star wasn't elite yesterday. When your star is bad, there's no chance for the rest of the line, which unfortunately was the case in both ways. So, yeah.
Anyone else for anyone else?
I thought, again, it depends on how much the secondary was put in the lurch by the defensive line, but I wasn't particularly enamored with EJ Reed on his start. I expected more from the senior guy in there. But at the same point, that secondary got zero help whatsoever. Like, they can't be expected to trail these guys for as long as they had to with, and keep them under wraps. It's just not really fair. So that's kind of maybe I would have to wait and see, but my initial thought was I wasn't entirely enamored, but, hey ho.
I'm about to shock everyone again. Kirby. When your
I was wondering if you were going for that. Yeah.
Yeah. When your job in our defense, and the thing I've talked you up, is your ability to play single high in these base looks. That's one of the reasons we can do this, where we can play Barnes for so many reps. And it does pay off with the tackle for Lassiadaga and Josh Jacobs on a third down. Great. The reason we can do that is because you're our single high, you can play that, and then Branch can play the flex role. He's either a robber or you can cover in the slot. But when Jordan Love goes a combined 8 for 13 on anything past 10 yards, the stuff that you're supposed to troll and put him off and throw in, getting 9 like really good grades, all these adjusted things, 4 big time throws in those 0 turnover worthy plays. You're supposed to stop those kind of plays, getting them the big ones, and you gave them up. Yes, you were good in the run defense and all that, but your main job in our defense is to be that sort of deep safety, sort of limit the big plays like they supposedly did to us. You're supposed to do that. You just didn't do it, my dude. And more proof of that is that big play we gave up where somehow, even though it's right into where Kirby's supposed to be, you've got both Arnold and DJ Reed covering. Like, I know supposedly Green Bay saw us communicating and prayed on that and got the snap off quickly. It's a regression again. We saw it. Rookie year, great. Second year, dip. Third year, this last year, he's got him paid. This was the highest paid safety in the league for a few minutes, and then Carl Hamilton came along. Great season. We've seen that dip again, and maybe it's just him adjusting to the new system, but it's supposed to be pretty much the same. So I'm concerned that we're getting that streaky player, and I don't want that.
Many thanks to Danny Mac 313 for subscribing at tier 1 for his 23rd month. Many thanks, my dude. I got one more guy who I think was up and down. Terry and Arnold, who I do think gave up 2, huge plays where he looked all at sea, and it is like a bit, that is not what we've come to see. But then in part, I also thought he looked really good where his coverage was sticky and he maybe forced some incompletions. Doesn't get a pass breakup because he didn't break it up. His coverage was tight and forced a no catch without it being a pass breakups. And I thought in run fits, I thought his tackling was very, very good and he filled the gaps he was meant to. There's no missed assignments from him in that regards in run fits. So Arnold, I think, is going to see a lot of hate because of the very obvious completions which came at his expense. His was both excellent and terrible in equal measure in different parts of the game.
Yeah. I think cumulatively, and Tyleek can be accepted from this because he's a rookie, the defensive line also gets a bit of a... Yeah, this is a very sore subject because we have discussed this a lot and at depth, but, Hutch, as I tweeted, is going to get more attention than fucking Travis and Taylor is this year. Like, he got doubled all game. He's going to get doubled all game of every single game that he plays this year. That is his cross to bear, being one of the best edge players in the league. Cumulatively, that means the rest of the line has to take advantage of that. The fact that he's out there commanding all this coverage and eventually Hutch, if he wants to reach the upper echelons, if he wants to be a $50 million player a year and wants to be paid like the top non-quarterback in the league, he's going to have to learn to deal with double teams and keep on beating them. But that's aside. The rest of this line, run defense fine, don't care about it. I need someone to win a one-on-one. I need someone to collapse a pocket properly. You can push a guy back into a pocket, that's fine. That's not collapsing it. That's just a guy giving you what he's giving you. Because that's what offensive linemen do. They naturally fall back into the pocket anyhow. Not one of them, Reader, Davenport, any of them, any of the reserve guys who came in, won a one-on-one. And when I'm seeing Green Bay mix up their looks all over the place, one-on-one beating off the snap, stuff like that, our guys didn't do a damn thing. And yeah, we got, 6 pressures on 22 dropbacks. I want QB pressures redefined from genuine pressures that force errors to just what is defined as a pressure. Because a lot of pressures don't mean shit. They qualify a criteria. I'm willing to bet of those 6 pressures we got, not one of them forced a negative play from Jordan Love.
No.
And
One
I'll
did.
probably be corrected here.
One did, which was the Brian Branch pick.
Yeah.
And that's the only one.
Yeah. That's not acceptable. Because Hutch is going to be under this pressure this year. So the rest of you have got to pull it out your arse and do something with it. And we can blame coaching. We can give, coaching might be able to make the jobs easier. But at the end of the day, you've got to win a down one-on-one. And we didn't win a single one. So you're getting a down for that. It doesn't matter how good you are against the runners, I've said already. If a guy's in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and he's got 5 seconds to throw a football, it doesn't really matter how good you are at defending against the run. They'll find a way past you. And, early days, a lot can improve, but you're getting down marked for this game.
So, very briefly, just to sign off from this before talking about the rest of the week slate, what is there to work on here? How do we move forward?
I think fundamentally, first off, you've got to come out next week with a fucking attitude. Again, it was the manner. We got physically beaten up in this game. We don't get physically beaten up. We lose games. We don't get beaten up. That needs to change. That needs to be back next week. If we have any chance of winning next week, that has got to be back. Outside of that, I mean, it's just about everything from coaching to players. Both coordinators have to take a long, hard look at themselves. Kelvin maybe stop getting fancy by dropping people in. Don't drop people away from the quarterback. Bring people up to him. That is critical because we can defend the run. We can do that. We're great at that. For 5 years, we've not been good at the other part of it. In Morton's case, he's got to understand the weakness of his offense and he has got to scheme around that. Like the few times Ben had to deal with an injury on the offensive line or something, he would scheme around it, find ways to minimize the impact on that part of the line. We, with a massive hole in the middle, just goes, okay, let's keep running it. That's got to stop. So coaching has a lot to learn from this week. And for the players, they've got to get the discipline back. Just the penalties killed us on special teams. The penalties wiped off an interception. The penalties wiped off so much for us in this game. Like, again, lose, that's fine, but lose disciplined. Don't lose because you're undisciplined. Again, that is a very unlike us trait. So the players have to just cut that shit out. And using the Patricia word that I hate, fundamentals missing. So coaching's got to adapt. The players need to get back to their fundamental roots, and the mentality of this team needs to get back to where it is. Sounds like a lot, because it is a lot. I'm not just going to chalk this off as one bad day at the office. A bad day at the office is generally one part of your game didn't go right, not the whole bloody thing. So, yeah, team has got a lot to work on next week.
For me, it just comes down to, and it's going off one of the comments that Dan said in his presser today. I don't care that, well, supposedly the reason this happened is because we need to master the bread and butter stuff. Isn't that what training camp and preseason's for? Take the fucking training wheels off the offense. Like the amount of times like this, or you can go through Twitter and find all the screenshots of people, and there is going to be umpteen videos put out by all the different places. I know Morgan and Miko are going to do one for Pride of Detroit, for instance, on their YouTube, but the amount of people who are going to go through and look at the root concepts and that, I won't be surprised if most of them are either those sort of go balls I mentioned or they're stuff that's short of the sticks. Where's the layered concepts? Where's the, oh yeah, I'm like a kid in a candy store right now. I've got all these things to use and you're just not using them. Take the fucking training wheels off, especially since you've just paid one of the most explosive receivers in the league. Actually use him on offense, and then on defense. We've heard all these things in camp. Oh yeah, Shep's really turned up the blitzes. I know PFF supposedly was blitzing love more than we didn't blitz him, but those have got to come home. Like Jack Campbell, as much as he's grown everywhere else in his play, he still has one fundamental weakness, and that's his blitzing. For some reason, he cannot blitz for shit. If you know that, fine. You can trust him on defense. You can trust him to cover. He had some good plays in coverage, except for the touchdown he gave up against Tucker Craft. Fine. Anzalone, we know, is a good blitzer. Barnes, when you use him right, he can do stuff. Find ways to get to the QB, because you know it's bad when even me, the sort of apologist for our scheme and how this team has built the defensive line, is saying on our Discord, we've had enough time to find an interior pass rusher with all the stuff with Aleem and Levi. They need to work that out. And for me, calling for us to sign another edge. I know, obviously, the one everyone wants has gone to the Eagles for all the different reasons. Clowney's still out there. Yeah, he's not a perfect pass rusher, but he's another edge option. Carl Lawson's out there. He's played in similar schemes and he can get to the passer. Hopefully having two Davenport-style players in, they're both kind of bit of injury prone. Hopefully they can add up to just being one good edge for the season for us, where if one's injured, the other one should be healthy. We just need to find answers because, yeah, like Green Bay's offensive line's good. Zach Tom's a great right tackle. They were having issues on the interior as well. New center with Malcolm Jenkins, he hasn't really played there. Oh, a good guard, but they've overpaid there. They had their issues, and yet it looked like they were going up. They were going up against our line, the Eagles line, that's a superstar, and we were putting out our UFL line at points. We need to find the answers and quick because I'm not saying it's do or die now with the Bears, but if we dig ourselves into a hole where we go into the buy-in with down knees, there won't be enough time to fix the issues. We need to start finding answers now.
I mean, it's crazy. Like you said, Branch pass rush. Branch was put on pressure twice in the entire game. Anzalone 5 times. Like, come on, man. Use Branch is a very effective blitzer.
Yeah.
Very effective. And where is he? We can't rush for. The sad thing is we can't rush for. That is the sad part where we're at the minute. So get creative and use these guys. Like, please. Again, we're in the season now. You can show teams what you're doing. Are we going to keep this secret all year? And they'll be like, oh, well, we're just never going to give our secrets out. So we're never going to play. It's crazy.
I think what's quite sad is that you'll see teams have at least 2 premier pass rushers. And by premier, I don't mean world beaters, but passable pass rushers. Have a look at the Giants, for example.
You have a specialist as a minimum. Like, we lack a specialist. Like, there's room on a 53 to have a specialist, I believe.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I was basically going to say, we talked at the early part of this regime about how nice the NASCAR package might look.
Yeah.
Why not use it?
Well, never mind that. How do you put one together with this team? Who the fuck is going to play in it?
At the end of the day, screw it. I'd put 3 random guys. Just put Hutch in the middle of 3 guys. Where the hell's he going?
Yeah,
like,
for
that
sure.
That makes it
But I mean, so bring back Nate Lynn. He's not signed anywhere else.
You know what?
Bring him back.
Give Hutch a blocker. Like, have someone block for Hutch. Like, deliberately.
Line him behind someone like a linebacker and then just have them both rush.
Well, you know how a tight end chip works there? Literally, you put him in the NASCAR, have someone specifically in there to block for him to get in one-on-one matchups, make them commit even more resources to you so that you can bring a blitz up through the middle, through your guys who can space. They're just something. I don't care what it is.
Well, I know the perfect guy. You know, the guy that's in the preseason graded out as one of the best pass rushers in the preseason. Someone who's big, stocky, and knows our system. We found the correct role for Broderick Martin, people. He is the sort of Joe Alt in the background for Aiden Hutchinson pass rushing, aka Justin Herbert going on a date with Madison Beard. That is one of my favorite photos that's come out this weekend. It's just Justin Herbert on the date with Madison Beard, just Joe Alt in the background, like his little like his bodyguard, like.
Can we just call it like the edge screen where Hutch is just behind like 3 big lanky big chunky figures on the edge of the line? It's like, okay, you want to try and block him now? Be my guest. We'll just do that, like, because you know
we've done weirder. We've lined him up as a corner for a rep, and that worked out well. Just ask Justin Fields.
Let's. These guys are not getting drafted for their coverage abilities. Like we're drafting 280-pound guys to come in and defend against the run. They don't traditionally drop well into coverage. So please, for the love of God, don't do that again.
All right, let's move on from this game and talk about the rest of the slate because we're going to flog a dead horse otherwise. Cowboys Eagles kicked the season off. Eagles probably didn't deserve to win that game. Is that unfair? I felt like at least it was an even matchup and the Cowboys got quite unlucky to lose there.
Shot themselves in the foot, didn't they, with that final drive?
I just like seeing the Cowboys lose. So, whichever way they lose is funny. So, they were more competitive than I expected them to be, though, which I know, suppose well as well, but couldn't help but feel they were just one pass rusher short of winning.
Oh, you bring up the Jerry Jones quote.
Yeah. The Brazil game came after that on Saturday. The Chargers bested the Chiefs 27-21. I will say the discourse...
Next.
What? Why?
Oh. Next. Not having this. Fucking sat Justin Herbert on my fantasy team for this goddamn game. And then he went and did that.
So I'll just say, by the way, the discourse about is this the end of the Chiefs is ridiculous. I mean, the Chiefs have started badly each of the last like 4 or 5 seasons, haven't they? Like, they're
Yeah.
not a good team in September, generally speaking.
I would just say this looked different. It felt
Mm.
different. I
Which,
mean, we said at the start of the year, this is where potentially, like, they don't need to prove anything to anyone no more. I think, these are all competitors and that, but when you've won, what, 3 in Super Bowls now, like, the grit isn't 100% there anymore, and it feels like the rest of the AFC West, because they've won it, what, a full decade in a row now? They're at
yeah,
a
it's been mad.
decade?
Yeah.
It feels like the other teams now are just the desires there a bit more for it. I don't know. That's just how it
Hey.
felt to me.
Well, yeah. All I've got to add is I've got 2 points. Number one, I was the only one in our pick watch to predict this motherfuckers. So, and number two, guess who started Justin Herbert in one of his fancy teams? I got all the points.
Oh, actually, no. If we're gonna do some bragging here, yeah. Guess who was the last man alive who still believed in Quentin Johnston? Oh, look, he's a good receiver now. So, mm,
Him and CD Lamb had like a freaky Thursday Friday situation.
Freaky Friday.
Oh dear.
Um,
Right, going on to the rest of the Sunday slate, Buccaneers just beat the Falcons 23-20, but man, that was a close game. I tell you what, I don't think either team covered themselves in glory. Baker was 50% completion rate. I thought both
Yeah.
defenses. For all of the people talking about the Falcons defense, saying that they thought it was one of the worst units in the league, to come against that offense, that high powered, and to do as well as they did, I thought it was a sparkling performance by both defenses.
Yeah, like obviously that I was watching that because me and you were just as our game started. We were obviously discussing it because I wanted the Bucks to win, you wanted the Falcons to win. But yeah, the one like there are some concerning things there. Obviously, the Bucks do have the asterisks of all the shit that was going on with their offensive line, but they the Falcons did have their way and it did look they could win. And luckily for me, obviously, Amika got that really good touchdown. Just what a throw from Baker, what a catch from him to win the game. And
Yeah.
it's nice to see that people are right when they were saying this is a really good pick by the Bucks. Like, do not underrate it, and it's showing it week one. Trust your rookie receivers teams, please.
the NFC South is the home of Otto the Grouch. It's a dustbin.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really, really bad conference. It's a
Yeah.
really, really bad division.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I've really got to say about that.
Next up, then, and you can go first on this one. Maybe one of the most diabolical games I've ever seen. And man, how did maybe the worst team in the league not come away with a W here? Bengals win by 1 over the Browns 17-16 after being held to less than 15 yards on offense in the second half.
You know what? I'm the Browns fans go through enough bad things in life. I'm gonna say I was actually quite impressed with how they played.
Mm.
Especially given that they went down early and you're thinking, here we go, and they look bad. I thought they are not. They almost remind me a bit of us under when Dan first came here. They're not very talented, but they've got a lot of heart and fight in them. And if you don't give them your full respect, they will scare you. And it got down to that Andre Schmidt kick, and there's just a part of you that thought he's gonna miss this. Like, if you could write a Browns game, like if you were a script writer, like you would have him miss that. And as soon as you did, you're like, Cincy are not good, and the fact that Cincy were power ranked above us to start the year, let's forget our game for a minute, is ridiculous. They are not a better team than us at all. We're better in pretty much every facet than what Cincy are, and that was showed in this game. They're an all right team, but they're not great. And
Mm.
Browns keep playing like that, they'll do all right this year, and they ain't going to be the number one pick. I know that. I've already predicted that one, and that one looks like it's coming true. So, it's. But yeah, fair play to them. They fought hard, and, I'm glad to see that.
I'm going to go one person per game now just to do that because there's quite a few to get through. The next one is quite fun. I don't know who you picked to be the number one pick team, but it might be this one. Let me just read out. Sorry?
I said the Dolphins were absolute trash and they've not got a backbone. So if it's this game, I'd just like to
Mhm.
say thank you. I was proven right.
I'm just going to read out the drive summary for the team that they were playing against. Field goal, touchdown, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, field goal. Nothing else. No.
What was the drive summary of the other team?
Pick, fumble, punt, pick, downs, touchdown, end of game.
Can you do that in like a head, shoulders, knees, and toes tone? Pick, intercept.
Pick, fumble, punt, pick, downs, touchdown. That was it. That was all their drives, by the way. Ash, 33, Colts, Dolphins, 8. We might have been humbled. We weren't completely embarrassed.
Yeah, Daniel Jones, the first QB to have more than 250 passing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and a win in their debut of a team since Daniel Jones for the Giants. Like,
excellent.
For some reason, this mid motherfucker from Duke just has all these cool stats because his stat. It's also the stat that he's currently the only NFC quarterback to have beaten Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in the regular season. Like, why does this random motherfucker, like Mayo-looking motherfucker, have all these stats? But yeah, I'm salty a bit because I did pick the Dolphins to try and get a bit of differential in the pick watch, and it came up to blow up in my face. Hold my hands up. I was wrong. Mike Daniel's going to get fired pretty damn soon. But the good news for him is he's got the kind of body frame to go and play with the US flag football team. If you've seen the clip that's going around on Twitter today, so at least he's got a future career and that sorted for himself.
And I know it's not my turn, but I would just like to say my hot take of Quinn Ewers having his job in 2 months is like that's Tua's not going to have his job in 2 months. Quinn Ewers is going to have it.
And your one is Raiders at Patriots. Raiders winning 20-13 in a result where Genty only had 38 yards on the ground, but Brock Bowers is who he was last year, going over 100 yards. And somehow, somewhere, Keishon Boutte got over 100 yards for the Patriots. I mean, my God. This is a really entertaining game, actually. There's not a huge amount of offense in here, but there was a lot to watch.
I'll give you one guess as to who yours truly drafted in the first round with his fantasy football team.
Bowers.
John T. Bowers?
Why did
Get
you
the
curse
fuck out of
it?
here!
Why?
I am not putting a tight end in round 1. Thank you. I have some respect left. But no, it was John T. And yeah, of course he was going to go at 2 yards per carry or whatever it was. But,
yeah,
I know there was a lot of offense in this, but even me as a sicko, a purist sicko who likes tough, horrible, rugged, grainy football, this was, for me, I did watch quite a bit of this on the early slate at work, and it was it was tough going, man. It was exactly what you would expect from these two. Like, the Patriots look exactly how you would think they would under Vrabel. And, the Raiders look better. I will give them credit. It was a fun little ding-dong thing between them. You like it when the lead's going back and forth. I don't think either of these teams are going to, wow people this year, but I think they will be decent. But it was fun, but I mean, come on, please, John T, use a bit more for me. I need that. But Raiders do look good. Raiders have got playmakers. And the potential, now that they've got 2 really good guys up front for them, Tyree Wilson has also come to the party. They could low-key be a very good team this year.
Yep.
I mean, they really dark horse to win that AFC West now if all the other teams are taking wins off one another. Obviously, when conference play comes along, that's where they've really struggled, but good signs there for them because this Patriots team ain't bad.
No, it's not. Ash, next one up is the Cardinals winning away at the Saints 20-13. Saints were driving to tie this up in the final drive of the game. Rattler didn't throw a pick, which is good, I guess. Kyler went 7 for 38 on the ground and 21 of 29 for 163 and 2 touchdowns when he was questionable to play the game. So, I mean, I don't think this was one of the more watchable games on the slate, but Cardinals get it done, and it's going to be a frisky NFC West.
Yeah, it's like that's what I did kind of watch it. Obviously, with Redstone, but I was keeping an eye on it for that exact reason because obviously I did my lone wolf thing and said they're going to win it, and you saw the signs there of that happening. But at the same time, you saw signs from the Saints as well. Like they did show some things, and they won't be as bad as we think they might be. Everyone obviously is currently slating them to get the number one overall pick and all that. They might not be that. Obviously, what happened with Miami as well, but they might be a bit more frisky in games than we were expecting. Let's put it that way. But I'm glad the Cardinals managed to sort of grind it out. Also here for the trade Benson emergence finally in that backfield as well. That makes me a bit happier. Tick that off the bingo sheet, the FSU reference. But yeah, nice little game. Obviously not the most exciting, but I'm happy with the result.
And next one up is, maybe not a guy that we wanted to see win, but Steelers over the Jets 34-32. And this is the first time Aaron Rodgers has looked like Aaron Rodgers in, 2 years. And I'll tell you what, Justin Fields played a hell of a game for the Jets. 16 of 22 for 218 and a touchdown, and 2 touchdowns on the ground as well. But Rodgers, 22 of 30, 244, and 4 touchdowns through the air. I mean, I think maybe, apart from the last game on the slate, this was maybe the best game of the weekend. It was close.
Oh, I loved everything about this game. It just had everything. Then the Jets took a big lead and you thought, oh, Steelers are going to fold here, and they didn't. And the comeback was tremendous from them. And like the atmosphere was great because it was almost like a 50-50 crowd. I remember they said earlier in the week that, Steelers fans might outnumber, but the fact that it was almost 50-50, so when one team got on top, the atmosphere was good, and then when the other did, the atmosphere was still good. Like everything felt 50-50, and you thought it's going to come down to probably who's got the ball last, who makes that one stop or who makes that one mistake, and it did. And I feel a lot for Glenn losing that, but that Jets team already looks so much better than it has in recent years. And again, when they gave up that big lead that you thought they might have folded in previous years, and they didn't. They kept going, they kept coming back, they kept finding a way. 'Cause a lot of points were scored late in this, but I think this bodes well for both teams. It's going to take time for Aaron Glenn, and they had some silly mistakes in there, which I know he's going to clamp out really quickly, but Aaron did his job, and me, I like the Steelers. They're built very much how I would draft a team. So to see them come from behind and do what they did was tremendous as well. And yeah, some really good performances. Go Will McDonald. He had probably one of his best performances in this. It was just yeah, it was tremendous all over. I loved it. This is the game that I like to see. Just somewhere where they go hell for leather, lots of points, lots of scores, lots of controversy. There you go. Great game.
I'm just remembering Ash saying in preseason, would you rather have X or Will McDonald? And I'm like, oh, hello. It is quite interesting that the Steelers only had net yardage on offense of 271 versus the Jets having 400. And there was only 1 turnover in the game. Like, Jets really should have blown them away. But Steelers just efficient. Scored a touchdown every time they could. That's the difference in the game. Ash, your one.
Oh, their returning was awesome. I think it was Caleb Johnson, the old Iowa running back. He was fucking great good. They just got really good field position because of him all the time.
Commanders against the Giants. Ash, 21-6 in favour of the Commanders. Frankly, I think the scoreline flatters Washington. They really struggled to pull away the Giants.
They really did. And while I'm here for the Bill Krosky merit sort of breakout, glad I drafted him so my fantasy team so I can start playing him. The main takeaway for this game for me isn't actually the game, it's the coverage over here. I'm sorry, but this new Channel 5 thing, and I know we're supposed to audition for it, what fucking complete bollocks it is. And it'd be useful if the actual pundits knew what they're talking about. I stuck it on for a bit so my parents could watch it with me. And they were discussing Krosky Merritt's first touchdown. And Osimhen was like, oh, yeah, see how he's supposed to be inside zone, but he reads what's happening, so he bounces outside. And then you watch it, and it's quite clearly counter. And I'm like, So while I'm happy for the Commanders in a way, because I've got quite a lot of their fans, I've got Jane Downs, one of my fantasy QBs, love Bill Krosky Merritt, and I just don't like the Giants. I don't know why, to just rankle me. Fair play to them, but yeah, just shit game, shit coverage over here. I hear that their coverage of our game was a lot better, but obviously we didn't have it on because you should listen to us, the true experts. Hopefully, Channel 5 can sort it out.
And for you, we've got Jags over the Panthers 26-10. Bryce Young did not look like Bryce Young of last year, but I am here. I am absolutely here for the comeback of Travis Etienne. 16 carries for 143 yards, including a 71-yarder.
Not when he's taking carries off Tank. Sorry, but Tank's the one who was there when this team needed him the most. But no, it was very good. I'm very disappointed in the Panthers, but I expect the Panthers to start off slow. They're a team that generally take time to get up and running, and so I'm not too concerned about them just right now. Chuba still looks really good. I think he's going to have a great season. Bryce, obviously, yeah, it's not good, but again, they got into a position where they kind of had to start throwing the ball a lot, and Jaguars pass rush was able to tee off a little bit, and it's just kind of with us. We just got put in unfavorable situations, and the pressure made turnovers. The turnovers won the game, but I thought the Jags looked good. Obviously they should. They've got a lot of experience there now. Thought Travis was all right. I got Travis Hunter in my fantasy team as well, so of course no touchdowns or anything for him. This has been a very rough week. And JMO in my fantasy team as well, so I just don't know what I'm doing with this thing. But
I mean,
yeah,
credit to you for taking high bust rate players.
yeah.
Boom or bust players.
Yeah, exactly. It will work in the long term, but just not for the first few weeks. But no, I thought Jags looked good, and depending on what the Texans do, if they can stay healthy, and if Trevor can, I mean, Trevor still looks, still something doesn't feel right about him, but they do have the infrastructure there to go after that AFC South if the traditional powers in there falter a bit. So, I'd be very excited if I was a fan of theirs. But the Panthers will still be good. I've no doubt about that.
Ash, next one up is the Broncos winning over the Titans 20-12 in maybe the worst offensive game of the day. 4 turnovers by the Broncos, 2 by the Titans. Cam Ward had 62 net passing yards. Bo Nix had a high note. In fact, he had a lower yards per completion than Jared Goff, which is a good achievement considering how we called our game. Key moments on the ground really for Denver, kind of getting them over the line. RJ Harvey with a 50-yarder, J.K. Dobbins going at 4 yards a carry and getting a touchdown. That's really, the tail of this game.
Yeah, well, definitely. And then obviously just the fact that debut of Cam Ward and the base has already started. Is he too slow with the processing, or are they not putting him in like sort of similar situation we're saying with Goff, where they're just not putting him in good situations? Offensive line just couldn't block for him, as you say, when his sack yardage is nearly the amount of yards he got through the air. That's not a good look. It pains me because I do, as much as I hate Cam Ward in college, I really want him to work out for the Titans. I like their defense a lot, but yeah, there's some growing pains definitely on offense for them as they work things out to the point where it's come out today that their offensive coordinator didn't challenge a player because he didn't know the rules. That's not good for your rookie QB that you've got first overall. Great, well done. But for Denver, yeah, maybe again some new growing pains with the passing game coordinator. But yeah, that run game just carried them. Glad RJ Harvey's had a nice rookie debut, and then J.K. Dobbins sort of breaking out the shadow of the Baltimore running system and actually showing he's a good running back. Also happy for him for that.
And 49ers over the Seahawks 17-13. Seattle's offense was putrid apart from Jackson Smith and Jigba going 9 for 13 for 124, but he did have 2 fumbles, of which one he lost. And San Francisco, I mean, Brock Purdy, 2 picks on the day. Rushing offense struggled. But Ricky Pearsall went over 100 yards, which is, a pretty nice silver lining considering everything, I think.
Yeah, it was tough watch. Obviously, I got Seattle to win that conference. When Darnold was throwing to, I didn't like Smith and Jigba get like 95% of the receiving yards under there. Some crazy stat. He proper hogged Like I'm sure he got like 90% of all receiving yards on the day. Like those two look great, but when it was to anyone else, it was just poor. The run game never got going for them. The run game never really got going on both sides. Like it was, it just goes into one of those stalemates where neither team can run the ball, and both teams' quarterbacks aren't really good enough to take a game on their own shoulders and win it themselves. And it was very topsy-turvy. It's a two outstanding receivers on the day, but outside of that, it was defensive love. I mean, that 49ers defense looks pretty good once again now that it's healthy, but I thought the Seahawks defense was good as well. Again, some really good plays. Obviously, the interceptions on there, it was great for them to just keep turning it over, but the offenses couldn't really do much. It was tough sledding, and yeah, it's a shame. I think that Darnold contract with the Seahawks, I think they're going to regret that eventually. Like they pay him a lot of money there, and he just didn't look like San Francisco were there to be had, and they didn't take it. So I don't think either team's going to like a win's a win for San Francisco, but I don't think either team's going to go away from that thinking, yeah, we played our best ball and we answered a lot of questions there. I think both teams got a lot of questions to answer going forward.
Ash, LA Rams over the Texans 14-9. Stafford has a respectable stat line, but they just couldn't get much going generally. Puka again goes over 100 yards, but for me, this game is all about the interception on CJ Stroud. Did you see Kobe Durant just take the ball from a man? That was an impressive play, and when you only have 23 points in the game total, plays like that really, really matter.
Exactly that, and just we took. I know obviously we moan about our offensive line, but the Texans' offensive line did not help Stroud at all. I know both QBs got sacked 3 times, but they just wasn't giving him time to go through like his progressions, and that's yeah, Puka, who I absolutely thank God he came back from that sort of concussion check and balled out. Because again, I'm in fancy, so I love to see that. But the fact that then you look at all the leading receivers for the Texans, like it's 30 yards, 26 yards, 27 yards, spread around, very nice, love that. But no one really having a good game says it all. The fact that the Rams, their defense just clamped down on what was a very good Texans offense and made it hard for him. And you put him in a situation where then Kobe Bryant makes a really good play, and Kobe Bryant, I mean, sorry, and it just wins the game. Like, fair play to them. I did predict the other way because I didn't know Stafford would be healthy, but now got to reevaluate. Stafford looks like Stafford of old, and maybe he can get over that back injury that's plaguing him.
And then the final game, we'll have you both weigh in on it, but Ant, you first. Bills make a historic comeback to beat the Baltimore Ravens 41-40. Both quarterbacks were magnificent. For all but one play, Derrick Henry was also excellent. You had Keon Coleman go over 100 yards, Zay Flowers go over 100 yards. You had fumbles recovered by the other team for both teams. This game had absolutely everything. The Bills going into the fourth quarter were down by 15 with 7 minutes to go. Starting a drive, they were still down by 15 and eke out a win by 1 point, with the winning points being hit by Matt Prater, 41-year-old Matt Prater, who apparently his own teammates thought he was a fucking coach. And he comes on to hit the winning points. I mean, and what a way to sign off NFL Sunday Week 1.
Two of the best teams in the NFL who brought everything. They threw in the kitchen sink and more at one another. And, I think we all knew it was going to be great. And, I mean, you have got to be absolutely pig sick if you're John Harbaugh at this point. And, I'm just going to say one of these two is going to get the other one fired because I know the Ravens and the Bills are always there and they're always good to, but at some point, someone's got to break through that glass ceiling and supplant the Chiefs and go on and win a Super Bowl. And you are 15 points up on the road at home. Sorry, on the road. You've got Derrick Henry in your team. You shouldn't be losing to anybody. It's effectively 3 scores. It's 15 points, right? So that's 2 touchdowns. One of them's got to be a 2-point conversion. Like, you're effectively 3 scores up on the road, and you let that slip. And it's, testimony to the Bills. Like, that took guts. it felt like they were the ones like, are they the ones falling behind here? But I don't get the Ravens. They were moving so well, and then just some of the play calling was inexplicably bad. It was terrible. Like the 10% where it was terrible just negated the 90% of it was excellent. But it was fantastic. You just love it. There were just plays everywhere. Offense, defense, special teams. Hell, Rasheen Ali was an absolute monster on special teams for the Ravens. And he's not even getting a look in on that offense at the moment. The Bills, you look at playmakers. Ed Oliver, the sack on Lamar Jackson, like that's something we don't have in our arsenal. He just absolutely he took like two offensive linemen out with him and just went for him and grabbed him. And like, this is Lamar Jackson. These are the weapons that take you above that extra level and make you up to elite. And you're looking at that going, "Core, blimey, I wish we could do that." And it was, oh, I just, yeah, you've got to clap this one. It was so 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 great. But for Harbaugh, this now is, are you inhibiting this team from being what it can be? You have made one championship game with Lamar Jackson. You have now just lost to your biggest rivals to get to that Super Bowl when you held what was a seemingly comfortable lead. Yes, one game, plenty of the season to go, but if I were Ravens fans, I would be disgusted having lost that. And I would also be concerned given that every time they want to take that next step, they can't get there.
Ash, I don't know whether this will be harsh to say for Baltimore, but when they were 15 down and the Bills scored, they went for two and they failed, I think. Then Baltimore scored a touchdown and Tyler Loop hit the upright and missed, and Baltimore lose by one. Is it unfair to say, in a game with 81 points, that actually, you know what? PATs really fucking matter.
Yeah, who would have thought it? Kicking matters, but we're not gonna touch that situation. Unlike the former Baltimore Ravens kicker, the best thing for me, the special teams, was the end of the half where like the Ravens think the half's over, and so the ref's like, nope, Ravens back on the field. There's 1 second left. They get to kick a field goal. And like Lamar's like, I'm not fucking coming out. It was a barnstormer game. I'm kind of sad that I didn't get to see most of it. I watched like the first half because I just couldn't fall asleep from the anger from the game before. But well done to the Bills, and it can't maybe obviously it's week one, but this is the kind of thing we wanted to see for the Bills for years, where they kept getting to these situations where they play the Ravens or the Chiefs in the divisional round of the AFC Championship and just come up short because they didn't have that grit in them. But I don't want to jinx them, but kind of do at the same time. This could be their year. This could be their year, and we could get one half that dream Super Bowl everyone talks about, where they want either the Bills or us in, us versus the Bills in there, because at least one fan base goes home happy and we're kind of close to each other and all that. The Bills might actually do it this year, and Josh Allen might, end the year with two rings. So got one from ahead of Stanford. You might actually get a Super Bowl one round as well.
All right, that's the slate. We've obviously got the Bears-Vikings game later on tonight, so we'll talk about that maybe in the preview show when we have that coming up later on in the week. Anything you guys want to say before I sign it off?
Fuck the Packers double.
Yeah.
All right, next show will be the College Football Podcast, probably midweek as it normally is. Looking back at week 2, looking ahead to week 3. Main show's going to be back on Friday night, looking at the Chicago Bears game. It's a must-win game for the Lions now to get back, because you don't want to be going to the Baltimore Ravens 0-2, and you don't want to be losing to Ben Johnson either. You can find us on Rural Lions UK, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and of course Discord, as I have been plugging earlier. And the group for worldwide fans is Detroit Lions Fans UK 1 Pride Worldwide. The website, rotluk.com. Please don't forget to subscribe. Rate us 5 stars on your podcast provider. Hopefully, if you're UK based, we'll see you at the meetup in about a month's time. Boys, cheers for doing this with me. It's never easy, especially when losing to a division rival. We haven't had that experience in at least year and a half. So, particularly unfamiliar. Guys, it's only week 1. It's okay, at least for now. Let's go Lions, 1 Pride.
On Pride.
Recording stopped.